Hello, I'm glad you could be with us for a few minutes today as we talk about a few important things before college application week. And three things that we'll talk about briefly in this session today. First of all, applications. We're going to talk about the application fee waivers that are available at many North Carolina colleges and universities during college application week, and then also about using the CFNC application hub. Transcripts is our second topic, where if you are at a North Carolina public high school, we'll talk about your ability to send and track your free official electronic high school transcript. And lastly, some career exploration tools using CFNC.org and nccareers.org. If you're not familiar with CFNC, CFNC is a service of the state of North Carolina that includes a number of different entities, organizations across the state, including the Department of Public Instruction and all of our higher education sectors, all three, 2-year, 4-year, public and independent. A couple of things I'll point out here as we are in the session today. Everyone is muted by default. The webinar may be recorded, and you can use the question and answer feature to ask your questions during our time together today. So let's jump right into applications. A couple of ways to get started. One is through the main navigation on CFNC.org. It does require, as you can see, the lock icon there. It does require a free CFNC.org account. So that'll take a few minutes to set up if you don't have one. One thing that I would point out is that if you are a student, it's not wise to use parents' account. For instance, what we see many times is that in a home, perhaps a parent has had a 529 savings plan, and they've had a CFNC.org account for a while, and you might be tempted to go ahead and log in under their account. That is not a good idea, because when you start an application, it pre-populates some things from your profile, and so it would look like your parent is applying. Yeah, maybe they would like to go back to college, but probably not really. So it's good to have two separate accounts, and the best practice is to make sure that you are not using a high school issued email address. The situation we often see is where a high school student, a high school senior, will use their high school issued or district issued email address, and all the colleges will correspond with them through that, but then that email address goes away after you graduate from high school. So it's best to set up something like a Gmail account that will follow you even after high school graduation. The application hub is also accessible if you go over to the NC Countdown to College site, so cfnc.org/C2C. A few things that are important to note here at a high level about the application hub. Number one, it includes all North Carolina 2-year and 4-year colleges. It will guide you to the preferred application by that college. So we have 80 some colleges in North Carolina. We have 80 some colleges and universities in North Carolina that have chosen to use the CFNC.org application platform. Others use different platforms. It might be something that they have developed. It might be something like the Common App. But if you go to the application hub on CFNC.org, we will lead you to the preferred application. It also helps you keep track of all of your applications and transcripts in a single location. So you can send your transcript to a college even if you don't use the CFNC.org application platform at that college. Maybe they're not using, as I just mentioned a moment ago, maybe they're not using the CFNC.org app. Maybe it's another application platform. That's okay. You can still send a transcript. Now, you'll notice during college application week, this link at the top of the application hub, and it shows the participating colleges and universities who are waiving fees during this time, October 16th, 8 a.m. to October 20th, and that's midnight on Friday. And notice that some of the colleges have an asterisk by their names, and that means they have some qualifications. Not every person who applies to the college that week will receive an application fee. Application fee waiver. So that's important to notice. And as you go through, here are several other things to keep in mind. Not every college is waiving across the state. Number two, as I mentioned with the asterisk, as you come to the application hub, you'll notice at the top during college application week that you'll easily be able to find the list of colleges that are waiving application fees. So click on that link, you'll pull up the PDF, and here are important things to note about this fee waiver opportunity. First of all, not all North Carolina colleges and universities are waiving application fees. Secondly, colleges that waive their application fees may not do so on all of their application platforms. So some will waive on only the CFNC.org application platform because they might use the CFNC.org app and maybe Common App as well. Others will waive only on a certain platform. Maybe it is just Common App and not on a third application platform that they use. So the important thing to note is that if you always start on the CFNC application hub, we'll send you to the application platform on which that college has chosen to waive fees. So that's something that we hear about a lot during this week, where students will, for instance, go directly to a .edu site, see the application platforms that are offered, and just pick one. And they would reason that, oh, they're on the list, they're waiving their fees, so I'll just pick any application platform and I'll use that to apply. That might not work. So always come back to CFNC, go through the application hub, and we'll guide you to the correct one. Lastly, the asterisk beside some of the institutions indicates that fee waivers are only for certain students. And that might be for, let's say, only first-time students or only those with North Carolina addresses. It's really dependent upon the institutions. All of this is their choice. We just make it an event and make this available for them and for you. So this is an example of what it looks like when you're starting an application, and it will give you the details for their fee waiver. So it doesn't hurt for you right now, even if you wanted to see what an application looks like. You can go to the application hub, click Start an Application. These modals, these notices, will not appear until October 16th. But when college application week is underway, you'll open the application. In this case, it's to Western Carolina University. And you'll see for this institution, the fee waiver has no constraints. There are not eligibility criteria that they have set. But if we go to another institution, they might have. So in this case, North Carolina Central University says that the eligible applicants for the fee waiver during this period are new, first-time, and transfer students. So that's very applicable for many students participating who are high school seniors. However, it, for instance, leaves out readmission students. So that's an example of what it looks like when there are some criteria for eligibility. So a couple of things that I'll point out here in the application hub. Tasks. You can click Show to reveal, and as you might expect, just click Hide to close the tasks. And within those tasks, you'll see things like the transcript and the application. There are two ways to access applications in the application hub. One is on the right, you'll see Start an Application. And then secondly, if you've already begun one, in this case, here's Bennett College, and you want to come back, you can unhide or show the tasks and click Resume. Here is a video that illustrates how to search for and start an application. So notice I can type in the top. In this case, I'm looking for Fayetteville State University. You need to make sure you're choosing the correct application. For high school seniors, it's going to be the undergraduate application. And then it opens up, and you can see all the pages on the left that I'll need to walk through. Some of that information will be pre-populated, as I mentioned earlier, from your CFNC profile. Here's what it's like to start an application that will link you to another platform. So I click on the same button, Start an Application. I go to, in this case, Barton. I click on the undergraduate application and apply. But notice I don't get a page that shows me all of the tabs on the left. It just gives me a landing page for the Barton College application. And at the top right, you'll see the URL, the web address for the application platform that's preferred by this institution. Now, a few things about saving and submitting your application. In this video, we'll see several things that I hope will be helpful. When you click Save an Application, you'll get these red messages that sometimes people think means that something has gone wrong, but it actually is just showing you that this is a field that you have yet to complete. So if we scroll down the page, I can see all of my incomplete fields. At the end, you'll be asked to sign the application digitally. We'll click Next here, and then it'll give payment information. And this, of course, will be College Application Week specific during that period. Let's move on then to transcripts for a few minutes. Some things that I thought would be helpful for you. First of all, this service, this platform is a collaborative between the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and CFNC. It's been a great partnership for 23 years now. It includes all of North Carolina's public high schools and all of North Carolina's 2-year, 4-year public and independent colleges and universities. The transcripts are free. You can send as many as you need to, 5 at a time. And when you send a current transcript through cfnc.org, one really nice feature is that a request is also created to automatically send your final transcript. So when your high school posts final grades for you in June, if you've already sent a transcript through cfnc.org, let's say you did it in October, then your final transcript will also go to that institution. You can cancel that in the application hub if you want, but by default, it will go to that institution. There are 2 ways to send a transcript. The first is shown here on the left. You can request it at the end of your application for admission. Not all colleges offer this, but if you see that opportunity, I would use it. It's easy that way. Click on the box there. It'll ask probably a couple of extra things if it hasn't included in the application, and you can go forward. Secondly, you can do it in the application hub. You can see 2 places there. On the right, and then when you reveal tasks, when you show tasks, you can request a transcript there. Let's see what this looks like in this video. So you'll select your most recent high school, enter the basic information about yourself, and then you can select up to 5 institutions. And a couple of important things to note here. Notice with Elizabeth City State University, there are 2 applications listed. You need to make sure you're choosing the undergraduate application if that's the one you're using. So that's something we get feedback on sometimes that students get confused with. Click Request My Transcript for these 5, and then you'll have the opportunity to go back to the application hub, or you could request another 5. If you click Show Tasks, you'll see the View Activity button. This allows you to see several things about your transcript. So here we'll notice that there is a completed and a pending version. So just as I mentioned a moment ago, one goes immediately. That's the completed. And then the second one, that's pending, will be sent upon your graduation. You can see if a transcript has been downloaded by the campus. And then you can also view your transcript. That's an option here on the right. Moving to our last section, let's look at a few career exploration tools that you might find helpful ahead of college application week, or maybe in the months ahead as you perhaps have already done your application for colleges, but now you want to think more about programs that relate to your career interests. The nice thing here in North Carolina is the partnership among higher ed. We've already talked about all those that are involved in CFNC, higher ed, or K-12, but also career experts. So the Department of Commerce taking the lead with the nccareers.org resource. And so together, we think it's a great opportunity for students to be able to really explore broadly as they think about careers, academic programs, training programs, educational institutions that will help them get to where they want to be. On CFNC, we have some assessments. Most have been moved over to nccareers.org in the last few years, but these are 4 that I wanted to highlight from AchieveWorks. So personality, learning and productivity, skills, and intelligences. These are free, and you can save them, come back to them. Many of you might have already taken, maybe your parents on the call have taken a Myers-Briggs inventory. So this is a version, a type like that. You get the 4 letters, and then you get to see career suggestions based on this personality type. The learning and productivity assessment is what many people would call learning style. So it focuses on how you best learn as an individual. So that could be informative also as you think about career opportunities. Now, a few career assessments on nccareers.org. We're going to go through these very quickly. First of all, the reality check. Really popular, as in this tool, you create a budget. It walks you through building a budget, and then you get to see careers that match that budget. And it's not just generic. You can even look in different areas of North Carolina. So a really helpful tool. Interest Finder is a Holland-based tool. RIASEC is what some people use. So RIASEC meaning an abbreviation for realistic, investigative, artistic, and it goes around that wheel there through conventional. So there's a long version and short version to choose from here. It helps you identify career types, occupations based on these categories where you might be strongest. Career Cluster Match is a nice way to look at careers because sometimes we have in mind, let's say, a certain profession that we've been considering, but we're not familiar with some that are related. So this is an opportunity for you to look at, let's say you have an interest in athletics, and maybe you've had a lot of exposure to sports medicine, but you're not familiar with some of the other careers that are similar to that. Be Your Own Boss is really less of an assessment and more of a survey. And at the end, it's not going to say, oh yes, you can be an entrepreneur or you can't. It's simply going to say, here's where you are in your readiness. Here are some things that you'll want to think about before you would take this step to be an entrepreneur. Lots of exciting opportunities there, and I think something that's very worthwhile exploring. Skills, this, as the name implies, allows you to take a step back, look at some of your skills, consider those, and see where that might point you as it relates to occupations. And then another very important part of looking to your future and thinking about work is your values. What is most important to you? Another opportunity to look at careers in a different way. Career profiles are offered for, it's around 800. And what's nice about the career profiles is that they are North Carolina specific. So you'll find a lot of information here, for instance, about salary, and it gives you the range, not just an average, but you can see starting, mid-range, and then the upper. Oftentimes that's corresponding to years, in the workforce. So it gives you a more realistic look at what it might be actually starting out in a given profession. What does this occupation do? Helpful to learn about those details, and then also about the prospects long term. Now, I like these 5 stars because they're a nice, quick reference for some key variables that are good to think about as you consider occupations, and that is salary, how fast it's growing, and the number of job openings. So the more stars, the stronger the prospects are across these, because looking at just one of these alone is not a very helpful way to look. Again, assuming you've already done career assessments and thought about those important aspects, these are another set of aspects to consider. Education and training. Where can I go? And that's not always a 2-year or 4-year degree. It could be a certification, a different type of training program. But it also here on the site leads to North Carolina colleges and universities that offer those programs. And then many times your search will take you even deeper. And that's where nccareers.org passes off to CFNC.org, and you can use the college search. So in the college search, you can look at only North Carolina colleges, or you could search nationally. You can see the box here in the left navigation for that. And then you can use the filters on the left to look at things such as entrance difficulty, 2-year, 4-year, or perhaps a certain academic program. As we wrap up, just wanted to let you know that we are here to help. The Contact Us page is in the top navigation of CFNC.org. You're welcome to give us a call, drop us an email. We look forward to hearing from you. So thank you for your time today. We appreciate that, and we look forward to serving you. Have a great day.